Welcome back to WRPL. It's the podcast where we talk about all the things we were watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name is Ben.
And I'm Steve.
Welcome back, Steve.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
It's been some time. This is
Some
our
life has
first.
passed, some adventures have been taken.
Yeah, you were busy with, life and family and stuff. I was on a little vacation. It just didn't make sense to record. So this is our first official episode, whereas the last time we posted, it was in the new year, but it was just that this meets that. Uh, a pretty okay episode if you go back and listen to it, but
No, Ben, it was a great episode.
it
That's what we
was
tell our listeners.
fantastic.
All right?
You
Even
really
if you don't believe it.
um but I mentioned to you, like, we did a Terminator meets we need to talk about Kevin, and really it's Knock at the Cabin,
Yeah.
and I feel real dumb for not even like thinking of that, but oh well, so be it.
I mean, Knock at the Cabin came out ages ago. How
Yeah,
can we remember
that
that?
was like almost a year ago. So welcome back. I got a lot of stuff. You don't have a lot of stuff.
Somehow, after 2 weeks, I've found zero time to ingest stuff.
It's life. It's whatever. But as always, let's start with a roll. 12.
The Wire caught that one, but 12 isn't bad.
It's above the middle, so
Yep.
I won't say interference.
19.
Okay.
All right.
Let's start this year.
I needed
great.
that. I needed a win.
So there was a couple of trailers.
Okay, there's only one I want to talk about, and I have a
Okay.
feeling it's on your list.
Maybe.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do these quick. Did you see the trailer for No Way Up?
I don't think so.
It is the movie of my worst nightmares. It's about people in a plane that crash into the ocean, but the plane has some air in it still, so it's staying afloat, and sharks are trying to get in.
Oh.
So, plane crash, middle of the ocean, eaten by sharks, all things
Now, is this like a real trailer? Like, this is like a real budget? Are we talking, this is a B-movie trailer that's going to be on like Sci-Fi Channel or something?
somewhere in between. It looks like it has enough of a budget that the sharks look okay, but it's not, it's not super high end,
Would you say it appears less than like 47 meters down or whatever it's called?
I would say it's probably on par.
On par? Okay.
Maybe just a smidge lower.
Okay. Then I get the feeling I kind of know what this trailer looks like. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just absolutely terrifying. Oh, we got to swim outside to go get the thing. There's a life preserver or whatever, but there's a shark, and then now the shark's trying to get up into the cabin, and it's sinking, and it's just awful. I can't wait. Second one is a total this meets that.
Okay.
It's Ready or Not meets Run Darling Run. It was Abigail from the director of Ready or Not. Did you see this?
I saw that the trailer for Abigail existed, but I didn't click on the trailer.
There's this little girl who's in a spooky house. They get a bunch of people to like play this game, and once they're locked in there, the little girl isn't this sick victim or anything like that. She's actually a vampire, and so she's running through the house, and they have to survive the night. Otherwise, they get eaten by this little ballerina vampire girl.
So that's less of a nightmare to you.
No,
than the
I would
sharks.
absolutely do that, because I would talk to her and be like, "You want to turn me? I'll be your familiar for a bit. You turn me into a vampire
Okay.
after a few years. I can reason with a vampire. You can't reason with a shark."
Fair enough.
I don't know. Have we tried?
Yeah. Have we ever just talked to sharks?
Yeah, maybe they're curious. And then my last one, which I hesitate to bring it up because after I watched it, I didn't do any other research on it. But it was the Alien Romulus trailer.
Alien Romulus.
It's a new Alien movie coming out this year.
I didn't realize the trailer dropped.
Yeah, and that's why I'm hesitant to bring it up, because it could be a fan film, a fan trailer, but none of the shots within the trailer look like they're taken from any Alien movie at any time.
Interesting.
It looks like legit stuff, but it looks so bland.
When did you watch this?
I don't know, a couple weeks ago.
It's got to be fake.
It's got to be fake.
It's got to be fake.
But it looked pretty legit.
I feel like I would have seen it on the Reddits or
Something,
I would have come across my feed.
It's probably
Because
just a
I
fake thing.
YouTube trailers every other day.
Yeah.
So
what's the one that you were thinking?
Did you watch the trailer for Monkey Man?
Monkey Man? No.
It looks fucking awesome.
Okay.
It's it's Indian John Wick starring Dev Patel, and it's his directorial debut. Um, if I remember correctly, I believe it's an A24 film,
Okay.
but it's just. I mean, he's got like. It's not. I don't think he's a vigilante per se, but he's in the ring and he's wearing a monkey mask at one point. But he's not like from the trailer. It doesn't seem like he's wearing it the entire time, like
Okay.
whenever he's fighting or anything. Uh, but yeah, it's just Dev Patel doing like kung fu and killing a bunch of dudes. I think it's a red band trailer. It's pretty violent.
Okay.
It looks. I mean, is it John Wick knockoff? Maybe, but I would check it out because we love a good fight
Hell
sequence.
yeah.
And
But
Dev Patel is awesome. So,
you said him in the ring, or is there like
so there.
in ring fighting as well as street fighting? Is it him on a revenge quest
I
like
think it's
John
him on a
Wick?
revenge
Okay.
quest, but there's just moments in the trailer where you see him in. It looks like a wrestling ring,
So maybe it's
and
like
he's
early
just fighting.
days.
Yeah, or something.
Okay.
But it looks pretty fucking badass.
Okay. Cool. Well, I know you have two things. I got about 70. So I'm going to do some quick fire stuff.
Well,
Ben's.
let me ask you this.
Okay.
I assume the majority of it is stuff you watched.
Yeah.
Can we do like what did you listen to anything? Is there
I am on an audiobook right now that I have not finished. I'm very close. I'll probably finish it on the way home from this.
okay?
And I'm not ready to talk about it because I got to see how it all shakes out.
Okay,
But I'm excited to talk to you about it next week.
all right. Well, I listened to a thing.
Mm,
Yeah, I listened to Green Day's new album.
okay.
And I know you don't necessarily pick
No,
up
that's
new
fine.
music or whatever, but I've been a big fan of Green Day for a while. I've seen them in concert, and it was probably the best show I've
I
ever
think you
seen.
brought it up on the show.
I think I did too. And even though their last album I didn't really care for at all, this one I actually liked quite a bit. And I'm a big old softy now because my son turned my cold dead heart into a beating one. And there's a song called "Father to a Son" where it legitimately like made me tear up a little bit. And I was like, man, I am a full on goober. But yeah, it's just a really good album. If you like Green Day, it doesn't really feel like they've changed too much over the past 40 years, but I'm not actually mad about it because, a Green Day song when you hear it, and I really enjoyed this album, and I recommend anyone to check it out who likes rock or punk or pop punk or whatever.
Okay.
So, Green Day, still, rocking out 30 or 40 years into being a band.
Oh, that's our L. So if we jump to P, that's one of your things. So it's a little early for you, don't you think? Since I
Uh,
have so much.
it doesn't necessarily matter, I don't think.
Okay, but if you want to
It,
stick to a format or formula, yeah, format. Then yeah, I played a little bit of Stray,
okay.
and it sucks.
Yep. Thank you.
It's not fun.
Nope.
Why do I have a dedicated meow button if it does nothing?
Yep.
And why? Don't make me fucking read. I don't. Okay, I get it. I have a little robot thing and it's translating. Then just translate it. Pay for some actors to come in and do it. I don't. I would play this game if I didn't have to read everything. If they just told me stuff, I'd be more
Yeah, the
likely.
Animal Crossing does.
Yeah. Uh, and there was a time it's just like, hey, you know that building with the thing on the top? You got to get into it. And I'm like, cool. And I'm looking around everywhere how to get into this place. Like, I just don't see it. And then it was easy. It was
Yeah.
simple. It was dumb of me. But I got there and it was just another, you collected 1 of 8 of this and 1 of 15 of this. And I'm like, fuck, I don't want to have to keep running around these streets looking for cans of soda to trade for wire to do It's not fun. I meant to bring it back tonight, but I forgot.
I forgot you borrowed
I'm not beating it. I'm not playing it again.
Yeah.
Fuck that game.
it.
Stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the tasks were necessarily so tedious, but it is pretty much just a few fetch quests in a level, and then you move on to the next area. And I mean, I talked about it on here before. The story was not intriguing enough for me to like care. The gameplay wasn't fun, and the only thing I think really kind of dug about it was the visuals of the world. Like
Sure.
I liked
Yeah.
this robot society
Yeah.
and how they functioned.
I did like running. The world was cool, but the mechanics where it's you can't just jump. You jump when you're prompted to jump.
Sure.
And I think if it was a game where I had to take that risk of the jump, can I
Mhm.
make that? I'm not sure. Will I be able to hold on to the ledge or anything? Try it, boom, cat's dead. Okay, try
This
over.
really needed to be a game where I was a robot who wanted to help this cat reach the outside,
Yeah,
and so I had the human abilities and could do a lot more fun stuff, and
yeah.
because they were police robots, and like you
Hmm.
could have been arrested and thrown in jail. Like all the beats of this game could have been you exploring this world and running into these dangers, and then there could be moments where you play as the cat because it's like, oh, I can't get into this door. Cat, go in there. Like
Yeah,
it's a cat you trained, or it's a weird cat that just somehow like you have this connection, or you have the ability to talk to it because there's robots that can,
yeah,
or this little mini robot that was flying like uploaded its consciousness into like a robot that had died or whatever
hmm,
and brought that one back to life. It's like, oh, I have human memories in
yeah,
here, and they're piecing it back together, and then you can sacrifice yourself to get the cat out or
sure.
whatever at the end, whatever story. But it's just you didn't need to be this cat. This cat
No,
was pointless.
yeah.
You should have been
You
a
should have been the
robot
robot.
and then had the cat companion.
Yeah, and you would have skills of I have a laser pointer. If I put the laser pointer on this button, it's going to run and jump and do it. You use the cat to solve your puzzles in different ways. But no, you just run around as a cat. You can't fight anything. You got little bugs that come and get you. Press circle to shake off. Whoop de doo.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't get far enough into the game, but you do get a light at a
Yeah,
certain point that kind of acts as a
yeah.
weapon, but it's not really combat.
No, I want a cat.
And you only use it in one section. I think it's so boring.
Yeah, unfortunate. You played something though. Did you finally beat Baldur's Gate?
I did not beat Baldur's Gate. One of the free games this past month was A
Oh,
Plague Tale
Tale.
Requiem.
Yeah,
And
sitting in my downloaded, just staring at me.
I was a fan of the first game. Not at first. It grew on me as I played it more, and by the end, I just enjoyed the story. And this one I think is the Last of Us 2 of this franchise because I think it improves on pretty much everything. On the PS5, it looks beautiful. Like it's a very good looking game, and the story is like by the end, it hit an emotional beat that I didn't think was going to get me, but it kind of got me. So it was emotionally satisfying. By the end, the in the first game, it was very much all about stealth with like minimal slingshot action, where this one kind of gives you more abilities and it is more combat heavy. I mean, you're not picking up a sword and having,
Mm,
you know, big old battles or whatever, but you do fight a lot more, or at least gives you the option to fight a lot more in this game, which was cool. So it really improved on everything. That being said, this game is my two biggest complaints are it is absolutely silly. If you thought if the rats were ridiculous in the first game, this one takes it and multiplies it by 1,000. We're talking about tsunami waves of rats,
okay, so
like
it's
rats
like
that bring down castles by
wow,
themselves.
wow. They're
Rats.
not being controlled by a wizard or anything.
I can't get into it, Ben.
Okay,
But it's just absurd. Like in the first game, there is moments of absurdity, especially at the end, but this one just takes it 1,000-fold. And I'm watching sequences like this, it's like, okay, I can buy that there's more rats in Europe than there is
the world.
in the world.
Sure.
Yeah, like there's more rats than grains of sand
Sure.
in
Yeah.
this fucking country.
And there's
somehow.
more rats than stars in
Yeah,
the
and
sky.
they all can burrow into stone instantly. And what it just you need to suspend all disbelief when playing this game because the science of it doesn't make sense. I mean, there is like a curse, but I don't necessarily know if that means rats have superpowers. Anyway, there's that, and then my other big complaint is by chapter 10. There's 17 chapters. There were 17 in the first game. There's 17 in this one. I don't remember the first game being. I feel like it went by pretty quick. Where by chapter 10, I was like, can we wrap this fucking game up already? Like, I Googled it because I always Googled, like, how long will it take me to beat this game? And it says the average is 17 hours. So I was like, oh, okay, so an hour per chapter. And that's pretty much what it was. But it was just like, I can only stealth so much. And you're always kind of running into the same situations. Do you sneak past this guy? Oh, there's rats here. You got to, like, make sure you keep the light on you and all this stuff. Like, I was getting kind of like, if I wasn't so invested in the characters, I don't think this would be a very good fun game.
Okay.
But because it does everything else really well, I ended up liking it. But the last four chapters are like lightning quick. I think each one I did in 20 minutes or less.
Okay.
So it knew I was getting tired of its shit and was just like, "Don't worry, Steve, we got you," and just breezed on through. So if you like the first game, highly recommend the second game. I think it has a very satisfying ending and it improves in a lot of ways, but prepare to be have moments of repetitiveness.
Okay. If I've never played the first one, should I even bother? Is it fun enough, and can you follow it without playing the first?
I I think you need
So watch a YouTube,
you can watch
you
a
know.
YouTube recap just to like know what the story is. I think part of what makes this game work is playing the first one and building the relationship with your two main characters. Uh,
It's an older woman and a little boy.
it's a brother and a sister.
Oh, okay.
In the first game, I think she's 15 and he's 9. In this one, she's like 16 or 17 and
Okay.
he's 10 or whatever. But I it's been a year or two. I think I played it during quarantine. Maybe it's been 4 years. I don't even remember when
Darn.
the first
Yeah.
game came out. But whenever the first game came out, I played it around that time. So it's been a while, and I kind of forgot stuff. So I did watch a YouTube recap, but I it's been recent enough where I was like, okay, I kind of remember what's going on. So because you don't have the first game
Mm.
downloaded, yeah, just watch a YouTube recap and go like, this looks kind of weird, and
Okay.
just try out this new one,
Okay. I'll give it a
especially
look.
if you have nothing else to play.
Yeah. Right now, I was talking to some people at work, and we try to think of, well, what's the big video game release of 2024? I don't know what that is. I know there's another not Fantastic Four, Final Fantasy game, but is that it? Like, what's the big release? I know people weren't like hyper aware of, like, say, Baldur's Gate, knowing that was going to be such a success. It just came out, but we all knew Spider-Man was coming.
Yeah,
So what's the thing of 2024?
was Wolverine supposed to be this year?
That's 2025.
Interesting.
Same with Grand Theft Auto. Those are the two big ones that or at least on my mind. But I can't think of there. I watched a video of like crazy games coming out. Like there's Pal World, like Pokemon with a gun.
Yeah,
I know that's coming out. Justice League kills or Suicide Squad kills the Justice League is coming out on the second.
and
But
I don't
that
think Pal World looks all that good. And I've been seeing a lot of stuff about they're not even like releasing like
like demo review
review
codes.
codes
Yeah,
for Suicide because I'm assuming they know it's hot garbage and they're hoping they get some sales before the reviews come out
yeah,
because
probably.
they're not reviewing anything till day of launch.
But I've heard that the game is actually pretty fun to play. It's just all the bullshit added into it, the microtransactions
Hmm.
and stuff like that. But
That could
they
be.
said they were going to be taking a lot of that out, so maybe they lied. Who knows? But I can't think of anything else for 2024 that's going to pique my interest that I'm willing to buy day one.
Yeah, but I think that might be a good thing because then I can be pleasantly surprised
Yeah,
when I'm not focused on a thing and disappointed when it comes out and it's not that good. I can just kind of go, all right, well, if I hear something's awesome, I'll check out a trailer or
yeah.
watch some whatever, and then I'll pick it up. Um, so I don't have to worry about games this year because this year for movies wasn't great.
You mean
So
last year?
well, yeah, last year wasn't
And
great.
this
So
year,
this year I'm hoping for some.
hoping for we're gonna have some good things, but there's gonna be a lot of garbage. Okay, so let's do the R reading. Like I said, I'm in the process of a book. That's what I love about this format. I could listen to an audiobook and it counts as reading and listening to.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I said, I'm not ready to talk about that. But did you read anything?
So I am more than halfway done one book that a actual physical book,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately I was listening to an audiobook, but it was too long and I didn't have enough time to finish it, so I got 70% through. So I'll just tell you that I listened to the Andy Serkis reading of The Fellowship of the Ring.
Okay, yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, I it was on the Libby app, and I was like, you know what? I saw that it was available. I'm gonna check it out. And so I'm 70% of the way through, and they're like on their way to Moria right
Okay.
now. Um, I gotta say, It's pretty good.
Okay.
Because I read the first book before and was like so bored. I don't even remember anything that really happened to it. I remember like certain sequences, like, oh yeah, this wasn't in the movie. But here's some. It's been interesting to see where like lines that would appear late in the movie or
Hmm.
appear earlier or said by a different character. Um, it's been really pretty cool to see like sequences kind of play out exactly like they do in the movie, even if like some bits are changed and Aragorn is more like kingly from the bat. Uh, but the Tom Bombadil section is bad.
And
Uh,
there's a reason why it got cut.
it was so smart to cut that. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah,
It's
why is
just like
everyone so obsessed with this scene?
it. It's dumb. It's like imagine Beyonce is married to Pee Wee Herman, and they just run, and these hobbits run into those two because it's just like this
Okay.
beautiful goddess woman who's married to this fucking weirdo who just he sings like 12 songs and like all it's just like just this happy guy who sings and is maybe a god or an angel come to earth who like
Hmm.
isn't affected by the ring. And I was just kind of like tuning out because like I don't care about any of this that's going on. He saves them from like ghosts or something at some point, and it just I don't know. They were just like, oh, he just seems like a real nice guy, and his wife's very lovely and everything. But I guess it's just time to go, and then they just leave. Like,
Yeah.
it just here's this magical being who appears to help out and sing a song, and then he's off.
Mm.
I just don't see its narrative purpose for being there, especially since I'm pretty sure he never comes back later in the story to
Yeah.
help out in any sort of interesting way.
Yeah.
Like if they ran into Radagast and it was just like, and that was another wizard we run like we're friends with Gandalf. It's like I've
Hmm.
known Gandalf. I helped him back on the Hobbit,
Wait,
or
wait, wait.
you know
Yeah.
you could have they could have done something interesting with that. But instead, here's just this fucking bumbling weirdo who's
Mm.
just like, all right, kids, have a good one, and then just and then his chair was talking, and it was absurd. And the other criticism I have is Gandalf. Oh my god, that dude talks forever. Like
He's
I
like 700 years old. He's
my
getting.
biggest complaint in anything, whether it be books or movies or whatever, is just huge exposition dumps.
Mm-hmm.
And what and it's hard to compare movies and books or whatever sometimes because they're different mediums, they need different things. But like you got all the information you needed to know pretty much about Sauron in that first like 4 minutes of the film. You get the backstory of how the ring got there,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just but you don't get that in the book. It saves it for when Gandalf is sitting in the house with Frodo and he's explaining like Sauron has come back. But let me tell you the history of Sauron and the history of Smeagol and the history of the ring and how the ring got there and how the ring traveled from here to here. It's just he talked for like 35 fucking minutes. It felt like maybe more,
And
maybe
Frodo's
less.
like, and what does this have to do with me?
Yeah, he
Come
just
on,
went on
Grandpa.
forever, and it got to the Council of Elrond, and which was once again a like 7 minute scene tops in those movies, and then that was like an hour long because like everyone had to say their like piece, and they all talked forever, and it's the small moments that really work, and when all the characters you love are together, it really works. Um, with the exception of that, it's cool seeing all of them together in Council of Elrond and introducing themselves and how they all interact, and you get to know these characters. But at the same time, just like we got it, man. This thing's bad. Let's go. Get to Moria. I want to fight some fucking goblins and Balrogs. But with the exception of those two giant exposition talking dumps, the book's pretty great. I'm
Okay.
having a good time. It's not as annoying as I remember it being in terms of uh, just talking about the Hobbit who invented golf or like Sam. Like there's little moments like that. There's a ton of world building. There's just like
Hmm.
little nuggets spread throughout that really fills out the book. So it almost feels historical. But I'm also just kind of invested in the story. I don't know if I would like this book as much had I not been so in love with the movies and I have
Sure.
my vision of the
Yeah.
characters. But I can see why it's popular with many people. But fuck Tom Dom. Jesus. Fuck Tom Bombadil. Gandalf, chill. We get it. You're very wise. The end.
Do you think Andy Serkis is going to do his Gollum voice when Gollum shows up?
I can't wait, and then he hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah, I mean, the only time we see him, at least like in the movie, is just him like following. And you get to see his eyes shining in the darkness.
Yeah,
I wonder if he's like, I can't do that voice for long stretches of time. This is a lot more dialogue for
I
long
mean, this is a
periods.
23-hour book, and
Yeah.
I'm just like 17 hours into it. That's the one thing I didn't talk about. Andy Serkis, great narrator, does
Mm-hmm.
different voices for everybody. I almost
I'm Mary and I'm Pippin. Does he do like
he's
high?
not doing like 100% like impressions, but like Pippin does have a Scottish accent, like Billy Boyd does. Like
Mm,
you kind of get remnants of
okay.
like I'm slightly getting an idea from this actor. My only wish is that it came with Howard Shore's score,
Yeah.
because that'd be
No
it's
score at all.
no score at all. It's just
Yeah.
him talking,
Okay.
or like getting a female narrator to do women's voice or whatever. But
Yeah.
he does a great job regardless. Andy Serkis is one of my favorite actors, so he does a good job of capturing Gandalf and all the other characters and stuff.
Okay. Well, let's get to the big thing in the WRPL. The watching. Let's do TV first.
Okay.
I watched a ton of TV, and we're gonna fly through this. If
All
you
right.
have questions, we can stop, we could ruminate, but some of these I don't think you're gonna give a shit about. I told you I watched Pluto. You did not watch any of it.
Nope.
Okay. If you do watch it and we do an episode on it, that's cool. But fuck this show. I don't know why people think it's so good. Maybe it's just purely the acting. If I did the subtitle, maybe I would like it more. Uh, but the acting is real shit. When you could tell it's older people doing voices of little children, and it doesn't
Mm.
have like true youthfulness. It just has cartoon child voice to it. But yeah, I love the idea. There's a lot of really interesting little things sprinkled throughout, but how it's presented, the look of some of these robots, it sucks. And I know the creator. He was inspired by Astro Boy, so there's a lot of that, and he created Monster, which is considered one of the greatest mangas and animes of all time. But I don't know. I don't think I care enough to see if anything else he's done is good. Especially that first episode, man. First half, I'm like, ooh, someone killed a robot, an indestructible robot in the name of something.
Hmm.
This is kind of cool. This is a detective story, and then the second half is one of these crazy killer war robots saying, "I don't want to be a war robot anymore. I want to learn how to play the piano. I want to help this blind composer master his final piece." And that's an interesting idea. A robot that just wants to create music. But it's more than half the episode, and it's so fucking boring to get to the point. These characters are obnoxious, and then we finally get somewhere, and then they kill that robot too. And it's like, fuck, did we need that much time just if we're going to kill this robot? And there's a bunch of these robots that are being killed one by one. And so you spend time with them and you learn how good they are and why they shouldn't die. And then they die. It's like, fuck, can we get to the point? And then when you get to the final point of the master plan of it, it's another big, dumb anime concept that I just hate. And I won't go into the spoilers, but it fucking sucked. I hated it.
Did I did I talk about Letterkenny on here, or did I just talk about that to you off air?
I think it was off air.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll just say really quick. Watch the final season of Letterkenny. I was a big fan of the show. Every season I've enjoyed. This last season, definitely the weakest. Didn't make me laugh nearly as much. You have four characters who it seems like, oh, this is interesting. They're all gonna like part ways and go on and do their own thing, and they'll all evolve because they haven't really changed since the end of this beginning of the show. And then it gets to the final episode, and they're just like, you know what? Never mind. We'll just stay here. And then like nothing changes, nothing interesting happens, and the show's just over. It feels like we're ending in a way so we can do like a Letterkenny movie or something like that.
Yeah.
Or we're not sure. Like this is the final season, but maybe it's just for like ratings, and then 2 years from now we'll come back and be like, oh, psych, just kidding. Here's one more episode or whatever. But yeah, total fucking bummer. Worst season of the show.
In
Done.
a bad way to end it.
Just yeah, I hated the the finale. It
mm.
did absolutely nothing for me. It had, I think, interesting ideas that just didn't deliver on any of them. So skip the final season.
Okay, like so, if you stopped at the previous season, would you be like, "That's good. It's a good enough ending," or do they have any sort of cliffhanger?
I don't remember exactly how the last season ended, but I'd say, yeah, I think all their seasons, the way they end, are usually pretty satisfying.
Hmm.
There's usually some sort of like small cliffhanger moment, but yeah, it's like your main character has had the same girlfriend for multiple seasons now, and she's like seemed perfect for each other, and then at this they like break up very suddenly, and then it just like I thought they were like it was going to end with them getting married or something like
Mm,
that this season, but nope, they're just
mm.
like it's like they wrote her out of the or they kind of wrote her out of the show, and they didn't know what to do with her, so they're just like, oh well, we'll just break up, and then he can go back to banging all the hottest chicks ever. It's like, okay, I
All
guess that's
right.
not character growth.
Let's see. There was two Marvel shows. There was Echo and What If season two.
Boo.
I really liked What If.
For What If season 2 is
We have
set
to
for
be careful
December
here.
22nd, 2023.
Echo,
Echo,
stop.
stop.
Yeah.
Dang.
So, What If season two was actually really great. Most of the episodes are really fun, really interesting. There's one that's maybe like a little too jokey, and they
That's this
don't.
season's party Thor.
No, not that bad. Not that bad. It's that is what if Hela was banished to Earth, and it since it happened, when Hela's time was so long ago, when she gets banished to Earth, it's Winwu, uh, Shang-Chi's dad,
Mm-hmm.
and he has the 10 rings, and she's like, ha ha ha, I want those fucking rings to get the power. And so, but she doesn't have her crown, so she doesn't have her powers, and she's trying to like manipulate him, and he's like, ooh, I want to use you because you're really good at what you do as well. It's just kind of a sillier episode, like Hella's kind of goofy.
I assume Kate Blanchett didn't come back for this, right?
I don't I don't think so. No, I don't think she did, but it's a pretty
Okay.
good
Thank God.
uh resemblance. But people like Benedict Cumberbatch comes back, and what's her face? Captain Carter.
Oh yeah. God damn
Do it, Steve.
it. It's Haley Atwell.
Yeah, she comes back, and so they still do some of the similar connecting of the stories, but not
Mm-hmm.
nearly as big. Captain Carter from that season one is back in this season. Like, whew, I'm finally done doing all the stuff that Captain America did. Now I'm in modern time, and so instead of her, Falcon. Captain had Falcon. When they met at the
Yeah.
beginning, her buddy is Black Widow, and so they kind of go through some of the same things we've seen,
Mm-hmm.
but with her instead, and she gets pulled into like 1402 Marvel world where it's very Shakespearean. It's pretty fun, and like Dark Strange is there and trying like we gotta fuck Dark Strange, man. This guy's such a fucking asshole. His whole thing is he's trying to bring back the world he destroyed,
Mm-hmm.
and in order to do that, it's going to destroy a bunch of other things. He's like so fucking selfish. It's all about him getting Christine back. It's ridiculous. But anywho, What If season two is pretty damn good. I don't hate any of them, unlike the previous season where there was some absolute hate. And then season two.
I
Oh,
unplugged
you
it.
turned it off.
Yeah.
Okay, Echo season two or season one, because there's only going to be one season of
You
this.
can't turn me off, Steve. Yeah. Sorry.
That first episode is really good. It's pretty much just a recap of the stuff that happened in Hawkeye
Mm-hmm.
and the stuff that led her up to that moment in Hawkeye. So we got to see, her mom getting killed when she's young, and um, we get a real fun Daredevil fight. It's probably the best fight in the whole show. So if you have a chance, I think we should watch it after this episode. It's just a 5-minute fight. It's pretty good.
Okay.
The rest of the season, episode 2 is pretty fun. There's like a train heist on it. That's pretty cool. But they decide that we're gonna give Echo her powers. I guess she has powers in the comics too, and it's all about her ancestors because she's
Yeah.
native. And the first shot of the first episode is like these weird gold and brown people like coming out of these pools in this celestial looking cave. I was like, did I turn on the right fucking thing? Is this Echo, the deaf amputee that does martial arts? And,
It was actually just what was that Henry Cavill? The Immortals.
yes.
Yeah.
That looked like you would be, oh, I accidentally turned on the Immortals. It's all her ancestors have kind of had this power, and at the beginning of every episode we get one and a thing they were going through, and you kind of leap through time as it catches up. It feels a little anticlimactic. She's able to harness the powers of her ancestors and even give it to her family members, and so there's even like a little old lady beating up dudes. I know it sounds really silly, but like thematically it works. But I don't think they needed that. I think it's more interesting watching her just be really good despite all of her limitations,
Mhm.
trying to get back at Kingpin, and her thing is wanting to be the Queen Pin. She wants to rule everything.
I
Um,
I don't remember much of it, but I did watch the pitch meeting for Echo.
oh, okay.
And that guy's just the best. I
Yeah.
love how he just. But I saw that he was just like, oh yeah, she wanted to be the queen pin of a small town in Ohio or something
Yeah.
like that. It's like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Uh,
And
and
then he even goes like, come back to New York with me and I'll give you your empire. And like, nah.
I'm gonna start one here.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I guess.
Vincent D'Onofrio is still great. He's a great Kingpin. He always that voice is just so scary. But the main problem with this show is it is 5 episodes. You could tell it was an 8 episode thing. They cut it way down so they didn't have to worry about shooting everything. There are villain characters who I feel would have their own episode to introduce them and their whole deal. But we don't, and it feels really chopped up. But I still like the character. I like that everyone signed, and there are plenty of scenes where people are just signing, even if one person can speak. In movies they always
Yeah.
say what they're saying as they're signing. They'll just be silent as they're doing it. So they do a good job of not doing a hand wavy thing of, well, everybody's got special high tech glasses and they can read her signing and it speaks out loud for them.
Okay.
Now Kingpin does that. He
Oh,
puts
okay.
a little like contact lens in his eye and in her eye, so when he speaks, like ghostly images will show up signing to her, and then when she signs, his thing translates it and puts it out in text for him. So it's fine for him because like that's one of his big things. Like he never bothered to learn how to sign. He always had like a person with him.
Right.
But I don't know. I think Echo is fine. It's better than Secret Invasion. That's for damn sure. It's better than The Marvels. It's better than Ant-Man Quantumania. It's just a little lacking.
Now I don't know anything about Echo. Was she Native American in the comics?
I believe so.
And
But in
the powers that she has, is that the same powers that she has in the comics? Like,
that all I ever knew her to have was she was like Taskmaster, where she can see someone do something, then she can do it. And she's not an amputee in the comics. They did that because the actress is missing her leg.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm not 100% on that character.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if her
But-
powers actually came from her ancestors. It
Yeah.
was just like a chemical spill, or
But there is another native character. There's a whole What If episode about a character they made up for What If, and it was what if the cosmic cube, the Tesseract, was lost at a certain time or whatever, and it started this alternate dimension, and these native people were given the powers when they were in the dimension, but they were away from home. It's actually a really fun episode. She has like super speed and telekinesis stuff. It's really fun. I can't even remember that character's name, but it was fun seeing that you can create a new character for pre-existing stuff. It doesn't have to come from the comics. It's fine. Let's see. Yeah, Godzilla, the Monarch show. I know we talked about it.
Oh, we talked about. I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes.
You got like I think to 5 or
Did I get
something.
to 5?
Yeah.
I don't remember. But yeah, that show fucking sucks. I'm glad I gave it up.
Yeah, so by the end, it's like they're trapped in the center of the earth, and they meet their grandma because time works differently down there, and she gets to see old Shaw and is like, "Whoa, it's only been 50 days, and 50 years have gone by. Like we got to get back through the time portal as quick as possible, otherwise, too much time in our world will pass." And they do it, and of course, like it only activates when there is a kaiju, and then guess which one shows up? It's Godzilla. But so then we have a really big Godzilla fighting another monster, but it's almost exactly like the Muto fight in the first Godzilla. It's a flying thing that he's swinging around and crashing into stuff. Looks really nice, but they don't do anything special with it. Finally get through the portal. Oh, we're back. Everybody's reunited. Look, this is your grandson. And then 2 years have passed, so they weren't trapped down there for too long. And like, well, we got to get or reconnect, so let's go inside because they're on Skull Island and here comes Kong. And I knew he was going to show up. The fact that, like, there was never any mention of him, like, he's going to be the last fucking shot of the show, I just know. And he is. Where's it going? Who knows? Who cares? I really thought whatever they were doing was going to cause King of the Monsters stuff, but it doesn't seem like that. Maybe that happened while they were gone for 2 years. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, the show sucks. I probably won't watch season 2. Not good.
Pencil shavings, Ben. Pencil shavings.
Yeah, in the snow. That dude's obsessed. But a show you should watch is Fargo season 5. That has come and gone.
And, I'm sure anyone listening who's a fan of Fargo will go, how this guy doesn't know movies or television if he's not watching Fargo seasons 1 through 5.
Pretty much.
But I haven't seen any of them, so I'm not going to jump in on 5.
You don't need to see any of them. They're not connected.
I understand
1 and 2 are a little.
If I'm going to start, I'm just going to start from the beginning.
I'd say 5 is most like the movie. There is like a car salesman whose wife gets kidnapped by some shady people. One of them's kind of a weird foreign dude. There's shades of the original movie, but it's not. It's so good. Juno Temple is such a lovely human being. Like, she's just so nice and sweet and just a little delusional, but she's doing her best to try to keep her past away because she gets kidnapped.
Is she even sweeter than Keeley?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. So, quick rundown. She was involved with John Hamm years ago. He's a real big piece of shit. He's like the sheriff of the county, but he's really just kind of like a militia. He's funding government funds to get heavy artillery and stuff because the world's going to be run his way of thinking. Women are in their place. They do what a man says. Otherwise, you smack them upside the head. You made a promise to God to obey me, so I don't care if you ran off and got remarried. You're still my wife, and I'm going to come and find you. So she has run off. She's made her life with this big goober who's just like, oh shucks, gee willikers. They have a kid together. John Hamm sends like 2 men to kidnap her, and she fucks them up. Like hardcore, like Home Alone style almost, like setting traps and getting out of situations. And of course, when the cops get a word of all of it, they're like, you were taken, and we have this cop who saw you do these things. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just, I left in the middle of the night, and I went for a walk, and I came back, and I'm making pancakes now. Like, she won't admit to any of those things because she's trying to keep her past away. Her mother-in-law is Robin Wright Penn, or Robin Wright.
Yeah.
And she's like a huge bitch, major, like, she's like one of the richest people in the world because she has like a debt consolidation thing, and so she's like, she thrives on people being in debt. And she's so powerful, she even like makes a comment about like, call the orange goon. I want to get something out of the money I spent to get him in office and stuff. So she's so powerful. She got Trump into office.
So this is taking like place.
This is like 2019. It's the most modern of all the Fargos.
Oh wow, I thought it was because they're all kind of set between like the 50s and 80s or something.
Yeah, they're all kind of in the past. I think season 4 was like the 40s. So, but it's great. Probably second or third best one. But that's not saying much. They're all pretty good. 4 is the weakest. God damn it. Hiccups. 4 is the weakest one, but it's not bad by any means. It's just a little forgettable.
Was 4 the Chris Rock one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. Okay. I have
one movie, but...
Okay. I got two more shows.
Okay.
Okay. I watched Russian Doll season 1. Never got around to it when it first was out. Did you
Yep.
watch Russian Doll?
I believe my wife did.
Okay.
It seemed like one of those shows where I was like, I'm sure I would like this if I watched it, but I just got too much on the back
Yeah,
burner.
there's too much stuff. It's fun. If you like Groundhog Day situations, you'll like this. If you like Natasha Lyonne doing her normal shtick of smoking, drinking, raspy old lady voice, sort of know it all ball buster, then you'll like
You know
this.
the old lady, I forget the actress's name, but the one who was in Beetlejuice who was like smoking cigarettes all over her throat.
Yeah,
That's gonna be Natasha Lyonne
yeah, for sure.
when she's older. You know, she's gonna
100%.
be doing like that kind of character.
Uh-huh. Or, from Insidious,
Yeah,
what's her name?
the main psychic lady or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
She's been doing stuff forever. She has a weird name. God.
I keep want to call these old ladies Cloris Leach women. They're all just Cloris Leach women. And I know that's not
That's
true.
not true, but yes. But yeah, Russian Doll. If you like those things, watch it. It's good. I heard season 2 isn't great, but I'm gonna start that relatively soon. I'm in no rush. I got
No,
some other
rush
things.
in, doll.
You're so funny. And the show brings up a lot of good, interesting ideas about like, well, what if it's only repeating for us and everybody else keeps going on in these other multiverses? Like they had to know we died so many times. What about that? Yeah, what about that? Let's go. And like, oh, okay, you brought up something interesting. Can we get into it? I know you can't solve this problem. You're just people in a time loop, but it's like, don't bring it up unless you're gonna like get into it a bit more.
Does season one end in a way with like not necessarily spoilery, but like does it lend its because I guess what I'm asking, like, there any sort of change in the time loop? Because if you're doing a season two, like, it has to end in a way. If is the cliffhanger she's still stuck in the time loop, or is
No,
the cliffhanger
they're
like
done with the
something?
time loop.
Okay,
The season 2, it's like she dies, but then she gets put into her mom's body, and they do set up stuff of her mom having mental illness
hmm
issues, and now it's like, well, did she really, or was that me going into her body in the past
that's a
and
cool
thinking,
idea.
yeah, um, but I don't know 100%.
Gotcha.
But that's what I've heard, so I'll get to that. But my last TV show. Oh yeah, we never mentioned we don't have a main topic today.
Yeah,
I have like um, a couple of new releases.
yeah. We can
That
call this episode just uh, the instead of a photo dump, I don't know what you a media dump
media dump.
or yeah,
It's us on the toilet. We had all these consumables, and now we're dumping it out.
yeah, exactly. There you go.
We'll think of a better term for that. Ben and Steve Shitter. Welcome. We're sitting on the pot today. What are you gonna crap out? Whirlpool.
Yeah. Flush there.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right.
I assume that's where the whirlpool came from. It's just constantly flushing.
Yeah, if we were
this
radio
whole
things,
show is a toilet.
welcome to WRPL. Ka-flush.
Yep.
Yeah.
The whirlpool.
So I finally caught up and finished all of For All Mankind.
hmm
Last time I
know
talked,
you're a huge fan.
I had just watched season 1, but I've watched 2, 3, and 4. Excellent show, excellent fucking show. I love it so damn much.
No weak seasons, all strong.
I would say no weak seasons, but kind of weak finales for every season.
Mm.
The season 1 isn't all that weak. It's fine. Season 2, it's let me put it this way. So imagine a show where you have to stop a bomb from blowing up a stadium,
hmm
and then also there is like a stealth bomber heading to the on the other side of the country or something, and you're in an airplane, and you got to think, are they friendly or are they foes? Do we got to blow them down? But then there's also I don't know, terrorists who are holding up the White House, and it's all happening at the same time, and they all kind of get resolved at the same time. It's a bit too much
Mm.
going on. There's one thing that is amazing. There's another thing that's very interesting, and the third thing that's kind of stupid, and I don't love it.
Okay.
And then season 3 is kind of the same thing. We got a lot of stuff all happening at the end, and then it all kind of works out. And same with season 4. It's just they save all the tension, not all of it, but they do too much in the
They just pack it
final.
all into the
They
final
pack it
episode.
all in, but in the season leading up to it, there is still drama and there is big stuff that's happening. But they just want to make every season finale to be this big hoopla.
Hmm.
Uh, I just love seeing alternate timelines where, Clinton doesn't get to be president. He lost to a woman
Hmm.
and a gay woman at that. She's closeted though. So, um, and then like after she's out of office, Gore gets to be president. So season 4, Al Gore is the president. God damn it. So I like seeing little alternate history things. They're not afraid to kill off major characters, um, and just seeing how the world would evolve in technology.
Hmm.
If we're doing the space race stuff, like space flight is kind of commonplace. By the beginning of season 3, let's say it has to be season 3. The beginning of season 3, there's like a space hotel that
Hmm.
you can go to, and that is like between 87 and 93, something like that.
Okay.
So, like, we don't even have anything close to commercial space flight now, and they were doing it late 80s. Uh, Cell phones are a bit better, telecommunications, flat screen TVs. Like, we were so much more advanced
Yeah.
so much earlier. Uh, it's just a great show of great characters, and they're not afraid to make your good guys bad guys sometimes, and it's interesting. It's a bit much, and there's a lot of times where you go, that wouldn't happen. They're not going to let you bring your kid with you to Mars, you know. But it when you watch it, it makes sense. But some of the bullshit is like, okay, you're being held, you're going to be executed in America because that was a treasonous fucking thing. I don't know how you're still around in the next season,
Hmm.
but good shit. I fucking love it. But I will say I was getting a little tired of it towards the end, just because they're hour and 10-minute episodes sometimes,
Yeah.
and
You're kind of watching them all
and
back to
like
back to
back to
back.
back to
Yeah.
back, and it's like Jesus, can we just get over it? And so I am done, and I'll have a whole year for it to go away, and then hopefully season 5 will come back. I don't know how many seasons they're planning for, but I'm excited. Yeah, it was fun seeing
What could have
things
been?
what could have been, and also parallels. Like with Bill Clinton, he had a sex scandal. Well, he's not in office, but can we do a variation of that? Can we do a White House sex scandal, but in a different way? We have problems with, like, say, immigration and the underclass having to do the shit jobs and not being represented properly, union busting and things like that. Well, there's a whole thing where, what's his name? He was Koba in Planet of the Apes
Uh,
and Rock
T-
and Rolla.
Toby
Toby
Kebbell.
Kebbell. Like
Why
he's
the
going.
fuck do I know that name?
Yeah, who knows? He's going to Mars because there's no money to make on Earth. Like because they created this helium-3, we don't have the oil refinery stuff that we have anymore. We have a better sort of thing. So there's no jobs, but they're taking these people because they're going to mine an asteroid on Mars. So it's like him going up there and learning like black market stuff with on the space station, and then people, the underclass, really wanting representation, and big corporations being able to just say "fuck you," we're cutting your stuff. There's an Elon Musk parallel with you remember Darwin from X-Men First Class,
Yeah,
the guy who
I don't know
can't
his name.
die. Yeah, well, come on.
God damn it, you caught me.
He's like an Elon Musk type. So there's good parallels of things that would go on in the world, but in an alternate timeline. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, these are the what ifs I want, not the what if Captain America had a sword instead of a shield. Like, there's been so many shows I feel like that have sort of like they're in development. Like, here's the pitch. It's this, but what if the Nazis won?
Mm-hmm.
Or what?
It's always the
It's usually
Nazis.
like It's usually like war stuff. It's like,
Yeah,
what if the Confederacy won? Because I know the Game of Thrones guys were going to do that,
yeah.
and then I think like there was just too much. Well, one, they're in hot water from the final season. Also, it's
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know if this is the best time to say like, what if the Confederacy was like in charge of
I
America?
thought their thing was, what if white people were the slaves and black people were the plantation owners?
That might be a different thing.
Oh,
Maybe it
okay.
was theirs. I don't know. The point
Okay.
is,
Yeah.
it's like that kind
But
of
it
like
is
that.
always a
Like
wartime thing.
but I'd be interested to see it.
Sure.
Now you could argue good taste, bad taste, whatever. But it's like, well, what would the world be? That'd be
Yeah.
that's an interesting exercise. That's a conversation like you and I would have,
Yeah.
or like any
But
friend.
we're not smart enough to
Yeah.
really understand. But if you have people
100%.
who are into history
Exactly.
and they go, well, so and so was really popular, and if this person would have dropped out, they would have gotten the nomination.
Mhm.
Well, what would happen if they would have done? What were their beliefs? And then you have those smart enough people to extrapolate on that.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to be wartime stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, just show me what would happen if someone else won the presidency. Some other famous Dolly Parton to get famous. Some other
It was Jolene. Jolene got famous.
Jolene got famous. Yeah. Just some weird shit. Show me those what ifs and how the world
Dolly,
changed.
Dolly.
That's funny. Yeah, but I feel like the what if scenarios have a hard time. I mean, I don't know if it's just because they're hard to write because you really do have to like do
Yeah.
your research, or if it's just easier because I feel like we get a lot of we'll do parallels to the world, but we won't use like actual facts. It'll be American Horror Story election or whatever it was called. Cult, yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like we're gonna make homages to the real world, but it's not gonna really be. It'll be a totally separate universe. It's like no, give me our universe, but something else happened that changed it.
Well, you should check this out then.
No,
It's like
if I have time. You sold me on it. It's a very good sell, Ben. And I think I will watch it. It's just a matter of when.
And so Apple's got 3 great sci-fi for all your tastes. Like Silo is that whole, the big mystery sci-fi. What's the smoke monster? Why is there a polar bear on the island? That sort of thing. You got your For All Mankind, which is a little more realistic. Like this is real space stuff. It's not science fiction. It's more science fact ish. With an asterisk.
Damn, that's a good line. I haven't heard that before.
And
this
then
isn't science fiction, it's science fact. That's the poster right there, Ben.
Yeah. And then you have The Foundation, which is like the far-flung future sci-fi, the big question. So whatever your sci-fi tastes, get some Apple Plus, man. They got all the shit. And that's my last TV
Ben,
show.
Are we secretly sponsored by Apple?
Well, now that you mention it, Steve, choose promo code Whirlpool to get your first 3 months of Apple Plus for free. I could only wish.
Yeah, that'd be great. Apple, get with us. I'll take a bite of the apple.
So let's move on to movies.
Movies.
I got 4 fucking movies, bro.
All right.
I don't really have to talk about. Well, 2 of them especially. I don't have much to say, but.
All right. Well, you do 3. I'll do my
Okay.
1.
Okay.
And then you do.
Okay, so I'll
The
ask
one you're
you.
most excited about. Do that one last.
I got a new release from this weekend. I have a new release from 2 weekends ago.
Okay.
I have 2 bigger releases from last year, and some have won awards, some haven't, and yeah.
Is one of them Mean Girls?
No, I did not see Mean
I
Girls.
didn't think you'd see Mean Girls.
I did take the risk of
Oh.
seeing original Mean Girls in theaters.
Did you see The Beekeeper?
I saw The Beekeeper.
Of course you did.
All right,
But
so
you hate Statham.
you know what? Like he's growing on me as an action star because he is good at what he does. Just like last night, I watched the Royal Rumble. Me and the roommate had nothing to watch, so Peacock has all the pay-per-views for wrestling, so we watched the Royal Rumble and then we turned it on and it was the Logan Paul wrestling match. And it's like, I don't like Logan Paul. I want to see him like pop his knees backwards doing a flip poorly. But he's good at what he does. He hits his marks and he's like a good showman. He was doing a good job. So same with Statham. He shows up. He does a good job at kicking people really high.
I mean,
but his characters aren't all that interesting.
Yeah. the truck going off the bridge in the trailer was
Pretty cool.
top tier comedy
Yeah.
that I've seen this year. So that was the only thing that like kind of had me interested in the movie. But
Yeah, and there's not
enough
much
to,
more.
yeah.
You know, you pretty much saw it. It's a pretty fucked up death. So Beekeeper, more like the pee drinker.
That
Because
was
it's not.
Ben. You're my best friend, and I can say without a doubt that might be one of the worst jokes you've ever made.
Don't worry, I got another one later.
Okay.
This movie's not very entertaining. It goes from, hey, thanks for renting a place on my land. No problem, man. I'm here to help. To her getting scammed, shooting herself in the heart like the next second, doesn't reach out to family, doesn't try to talk to banks or anything. Oh crap, I got scammed. I must die. Okay, whatever, Felicia Rashad. You do what you gotta do. I guess this is payback for backing Cosby even after all these years.
We don't have merch, but if we had T-shirts, I would love a T-shirt made that said "Whatever, Felicia Rashad." That's a good T-shirt.
And then Jason Statham goes on a kicking spree of someone screwed this lady, and I'm gonna get her justice. So here's the problem. In the beginning, we see him in his beekeeping outfit, and it looks like a superhero suit. It's kind of cool looking.
It's form fitting.
I mean, it's form fitting, but it's got little details and stuff. It just looks like one of those things of he's put in the situation already wearing the beekeeper uniform, and he hasn't had a chance to change out of it. So then it becomes his superhero outfit.
Got it.
He doesn't wear it. He wears it when he's keeping bees, but not when he's kicking ass. So I'm keeping bees and kicking ass.
And I'm all out of bees.
And that's the problem. He doesn't do bee stuff. Like, obviously, he's not going to have a stinger or anything, but I would like some bee puns. And like, oh, does that sting? Yeah, like throw a pocket full of bees at someone's face. Like, he uses honey and says it's flammable. Oh, okay, but he doesn't like play a little flute and all the bees come flying in. And I was hoping maybe
Now, is the final fight at his beekeeper farm, and he
it's
like
in some presidential.
so he doesn't kill the final boss by like pushing him into a swarm of bees, or like putting the queen bee like in his throat so they all yeah,
no, nothing like that.
Lame. We should have wrote this
the
movie.
Beekeeper stuff is so minimal,
Irrelevant.
and like, oh, I got a team of people who could help me because I was a beekeeper. I'm like, oh, what does that mean? Don't fucking worry about it. It's top secret. Okay. And it's like, we need to find who this guy is. Calling tech support and like, oh, the FBI wasn't even able to find them. Huh, we'll see what I can do. And then 5 minutes later, okay, I found him. Here's the information. Like, the FBI can't find this guy and you found him in 5 minutes? It's ridiculous.
That's when you have the bees do like spy work and they report back, and it's like,
why? If he
got it, Queen, let's go. I'm fucking this guy up.
If he was a genetic experiment that he could actually control bees, that would make it so much more interesting. I wanted him to jump into a room and there'd be two guys like, it's 2 against 1. Like, you sure about that? And then a bunch of bees would form into another Jason Statham and then do karate as bees,
I want the scene from Batman Begins where he's standing there, and then like the Hans Zimmer music comes, and all the bees are swarming around him.
Jumps down a staircase.
Yeah.
There's, I think, even a staircase very much like that. Like, there's so many fun little dumb things. If you're gonna make a dumb movie like this, go all in. And they don't. It's such a boring action movie. I was getting very sleepy during this because it was not interesting enough. And then what's his name from Five Nights at Freddy's? Josh Hutcherson.
He's in this?
Yeah, he's the main bad guy.
He's the main bad guy?
He's the main bad guy. He's the president's son.
Okay.
And he runs this like scamming thing, and that's how he makes his money. And
2 for 2 in shit movies.
Yeah. But he looks like a Paul brother. It's really funny. He looks like the third Paul brother who didn't get any of the good genes, and he's kind of small. But yeah, I think he's a fun villain because you don't expect someone like him to be the bad guy. But they don't do anything interesting with them.
So there isn't a scene where, like, Jason Statham's at the bar and a pretty girl's like, hey, you want to dance? And he's like, or she's like, you don't strike me as the type who likes to dance. And he's like, oh, no, I can dance. I learned from the bees because that's how they fucking learn to mate or whatever. And so he's
just doing weird.
He's actually a very good dancer because, like, I study bees. I'm the beekeeper. You know?
Anything. All of that would work. Or it'd been like if he had a buddy and they're like, you don't know how to dance. Like, trust me, as a beekeeper, I've learned from the best. And he goes out there and he does like weird bee dances, and it makes him look really stupid. Like, if this was a comedy, this would have been amazing. He's so good in Spy with come on, Steve. What's the name?
Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah. He's really good in that because he's like kind of played for laughs and he's a big idiot. And I think if he was a big idiot in this, like he could still be a good kicker, you know? He can still kick real high, but he needs to use bees and like picking a lock. He should pull out like 3 bees and put them in, and then you hear the little click, 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 and like, oh, thanks, Francis. Thanks, Leonard. Thanks, Marcus. You know, like he names all his bees.
Ant-Man with bees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Why not? Beekeeper is a comic book name.
Oh, yeah. So it was Ant-Man and the Wasp, but Wasp never did anything with bees.
She doesn't control them. No.
Yeah, that's a shame.
No, she gets the shooty guns.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, Beekeeper. Next one.
It's like the perfect movie to be like, I gave this a B.
Exactly.
And you can't.
You
it's
can't
so bad.
because it's bad. I think I gave it a D plus, or maybe just a D.
Yeah, he really should have like had a love interest in that movie, and they got together, and he just always called her Honey or something like that. The movie writes itself. Man.
I know, it's so simple. You know, and
I don't know what studio put this movie out, but get us on the phone. We'll write you your fucking movie over the phone.
Yeah, the real Beekeeper.
Yeah.
You know, throwing a jar of honey on some guy who's in a car, and everyone else is like, we gotta bail out, the bridge is up, and he's stuck to his chair because it's too much honey. Like, do something! There's nothing in this. Oh, it's so frustrating.
Or you have that scene where, like, all the bad guys, they're on the rooftop, they're looking at him, and then he does the Marty McFly thing where he looks over the edge and he jumps off, and they're like, oh my god, he killed himself. And then, like, 5,000 bees lift him
please! Up. I want Jason Statham
and just kicks everybody in the face
in bed with his hands over his head, smoking a cigarette, and rolls over, and it's the queen bee in there, just smoking her little cigarette. Just go nuts. Well, my other new release from this week is I saw I.S.S.
Oh, okay.
More like P.I.S.S.
Fuck you, man.
That one's better, though, right?
Well, here's the thing. Like, the first one was bad, but because you kept on theme, it made this one funny. Like, it's not a good joke, but it worked as a collective.
Oh. I've started doing my letterbox more.
Uh-huh.
And so that's going to be my way of reviewing things, is just, like, say the title, more like, and then just make up some stupid fucking thing like that. So, ISS, or International Space Station, God, boring. And especially after watching For All Mankind and seeing all this space stuff where crazy stuff is happening, this is so middle of the road and dull. And
I saw, like, the poster, or not the poster, I guess the poster, like on Fandango of I assumed it was like a documentary thing or something.
No, so you don't know what this is about?
I don't know a goddamn thing about this movie.
Oh, wow.
Is there anyone famous in it?
Yeah, you're on Greyjoy.
Oh.
That doctor guy from the Mindy Kaling project.
Chris Messina? The
guy
handsome one?
Yes, that she sleeps with even though he's a bad dude or whatever. He was also in Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, okay. That guy. I think the lead, I don't know her name. I think she was probably in something.
It doesn't matter.
Whatever. So, there's 3 Russians and 3 Americans on the International Space Station. They're doing their science stuff, and they're welcoming on two new Americans, and they look out, looking at the world, going, "Wow, isn't that amazing?" And then a nuke goes off on Earth, and then another, and another, and another. I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Maybe I did watch this trailer. It sounds familiar.
They were playing it for a while. So then now they're on the International Space Station, and they get notice from the American government saying, take control of the ISS any means possible. And the Russians get the same sort of message. So now they're like, who can we trust? How do we stop them? And then they do and don't. And like the Russians kill off, what did he say, Chris Messina?
Chris Messina, whatever you say.
Whatever his name is. But he doesn't actually die. and then like they smash a Russian over the head, and she dies, and then they're like going at it, and it ends up being like, yeah, it ends up with one Russian, one American. And they're like, we got to just get on the ship and go back to Earth, and they make a big deal about, well, one of the researches we were doing was about blood in radiation treatment. We're going to really need to bring that information back to Earth because with all those nukes going off, we're going to need that. So that all of a sudden, something that was mentioned just like 5 minutes ago is now important enough. And then they get on the ship and leave. We don't know why the war started. We don't know what happened to them. We don't know exactly where the nukes went off. It looks like America. It could be Russia because it is America versus Russia. Yeah, it sucks. It's just
Sounds like an interesting concept, though.
it really is. But something like a Sunshine takes like these crazy difficult things that you have to do. We got to go out there and move the panel, but if the sun's a quadrillion degrees and you're going to burn up, and it just lacks stakes. And it's obviously it's a end of the world nukes and stuff, so the stakes are pretty high, but it doesn't feel like the stakes are high. It's piss.
All right.
It's not the worst thing I've seen, but I was very disappointed.
Disappointed, yeah. I get that. Your next one?
Okay, so I don't know which one I want to talk about more.
I can do mine if that helps you in any way. I don't know
Yeah,
why
go
I
for
would.
it. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so Oscars came out. And
oh yeah, do you want to end with the Oscars?
we can end with the Oscars.
Okay, so don't mention the Oscars.
Unless, like, your last movie you really want to talk about, something you're passionate about, because then we can, like, take a break and, like, before we get into the final movie, you know.
Yeah, I think we'll just end it on the Oscars.
Okay. Oscars came out, and my wife and I were, we had a little bit of free time, and I was like, why don't we watch a movie? We haven't watched a movie together in a while. And I was like, great, I'll watch a movie. And we were surfing through stuff, couldn't really find anything that really jumped out at us. But we found something that looked short and cute, and it's this year's Oscar nominee for Best Animated Feature, Nimona, on Netflix.
Okay. How is that?
It's cute. It's not, I think, the greatest movie by any means, but there is some fun stuff here. So, for those who don't know, Nimona is the story of a shape-shifting girl who teams up with a disgraced knight, and she tries to help recover his honor because he is framed for a crime he did not commit. But the twist is, it's all like knights in medieval times, but it's also the future, like Blade Runner style.
Okay.
So it's a mix of fantasy and sci-fi. So like there's flying cars or like flying chariots or whatever. They're in this big old Blade Runner city, but it's surrounded by like stone castle walls. There's like posters that say if you see something, slay something, which I thought was kind of fun. Like little details like that. So your main character, Ballister, he was a normal orphan boy from the streets, and he was allowed to train at this prestigious knight school, where he excelled and became the greatest knight ever. And so it's like graduation day, and he's about to be knighted, and everyone expects great things from him because most of the knights that come through here are kind of from well-to-do families or whatever. And as he's up there, his sword opens up and a laser beam comes out the back and kills the queen. And so it's just like, oh, he killed the queen. He's a traitor. This is why we can't have poor people in the school or something. I don't know. And so he's on the run. So then Nimona shows up, and she can shapeshift into animals and people. And
can she get like turn into a real big dragon, or it would only be relative to her size?
Nope, she can change into whatever the fuck she wants,
Nice.
whatever the story needs. And she's played by Chloe Grace Moretz, and she's a ton of fun. She's really funny and adorable, and she's a good time. She's really like the saving grace of this movie, because Riz Ahmed is kind of like the brooding downer. So it's it's the odd couple thing that works in every scenario, and then their friendship that builds is kind of fun. Beck Bennett plays like a douchey knight who's always just like, hey man, you're not gonna mount to anything. You fucking suck, bro. I can't wait to punch you in the face. And that's actually a pretty good Beck Bennett impression, if I don't say so myself. Not really. Anyway, so I'm a big sucker for fantasy stuff, so all that worked for me. I like the sci-fi stuff. I think it was a fun blend of the two elements. I enjoyed the story. It's like a tight hour and 45 minutes. I think 15 minutes of it is actually just credits.
Hmm.
Uh, and yeah, I think it works. And I think if there were sequels to this, that would work. It's based on a graphic novel that I looked up after the movie. I was curious, like, how accurate is this to the graphic novel? It's a completely different story.
Okay.
The characters look similar, and they have like she's still a shapeshifter, but it is drastically different. There's like a in the book. There's like a plot line with poison, like poisoning the apples or something like that. And Bowser actually is a villain from the get go who turns good, I think, versus this where he's just always been good, but he's framed as a bad
Okay.
person. Uh, and I think it's a little bit more adult and like violent it could be. I didn't read it, obviously. I just
Mhm.
Wikipedia, but definitely totally different stories. Where this one, I think they kind of made it more kid friendly and more about like accepting people for who they are. Because the big thing about this world is, oh well, all these knights are training to keep the monsters at bay, and that's why we live in the city because uh, it's so we can all be safe. But you never ever see any other monsters.
Really?
Yeah, and for all I know, no monsters
It's a
exist
village
but her.
situation.
With
It's like
yeah,
the village.
well, it's like you see this giant city, and then I won't spoil it, but they're just like so terrified of monsters, and they have these like giant cannons on the walls in case like there's a fucking Attack on Titan scenario or something. But for all I know, they don't exist.
Hmm.
The movie doesn't make it seem like it's a lie, because obviously there is this monster girl who can turn into animal or whatever, or can turn into a dragon. Uh, but it like there's just some world building stuff that just doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
And it I think there's some emotional beats that could have like come a little cleaner. And I won't get into it in case you want to watch it. I did enjoy it. I would recommend it to anyone with kids. It's a good fun. But there's some story elements that I was just kind of like, well, what was the point of that? Or what? I feel like there's more they could have juiced out of this, you know, this juicy thing. Yeah. So it's a fun idea in an interesting world. But if there is a sequel where they're just like, well, now we got to go out into the forest and see, like, is it a Maleficent thing where it's like, oh, well, now there's the normal people versus the monsters, and there's going to be a war that brews, or
Hmm.
like, and then it's going to be the thing where, well, we're going to bring in the monsters, and now our world is even more fun because we have more diversity in
Yeah.
ideas, and like
Yeah.
that's all great. It just feels like there's something there that I didn't quite get to. So I'd
That's
be
a
interested to
shame.
see how the author of the book feels about the movie, just in terms of just like that's those are my characters, but that's not my story at
Yeah.
all.
And I'm sure, I mean, you hear it all the time of, yeah, they bought it from me, they locked me out of any sort of writing thing, and they did whatever the fuck they wanted.
Mhm.
And then other writers, they go, no, if you want this, I'm part of the script writing. I get part of the final say,
And some writers like, oh, you're giving me $1 million?
Take it,
Do whatever
do
you
whatever.
want.
I don't care because it's like you have fun with it. You won't be tarnishing my characters because you're not even doing my characters. You're
Yeah,
doing something else. So my thing stays pure. Yeah, I wanted to see it. I'll get to
I
it.
think you'd like it.
Yeah,
I don't think you'll love it, but I think you'll like
but
it.
I've heard that should have been on best animated nominated instead of. I mean, we'll get to the Oscars a little bit later.
Mhm.
Um, God, there was something on there that was like not deserving of it. I'm just glad Wish didn't get
Yeah,
on it, but we'll get to that.
I didn't see Wish, so I can't comment
No,
on if it was any
I
good.
just heard it
I
was
heard it was bad, but
really bad, and it just anything I watched, it looked so uninteresting.
yeah.
And it's nice to see it's not well, it's a Disney movie, so it has to be on there. And it's funny that it's like their 100 years of animation celebration, and nobody gives a shit about it. It's not nominated for anything. Like, try harder next time,
Yeah.
Walt.
People want good things.
Yeah. So I saw a movie that I heard a lot about last year as being a new holiday favorite, The Holdovers.
Hmm.
The Holdovers, more like the old hovers, because it uses all the same letters as Holdovers.
Hmm.
And do you know what the story is of Holdovers?
A kid doesn't have a place to go home for Christmas, so Paul Giamatti with the wonky eye and the librarian or something,
Cafeteria
cafeteria
lady.
lady.
Yeah.
Okay, hang back with him and
It's
build
a
a unlikely family relationship over Christmas break.
Pretty much. So he's the asshole teacher that nobody likes. They're about to go on Christmas vacation. He's wanting to start new chapters, and they're like, "What the fuck, bro? Like we're going on vacation." And he's very much I went to this school and we were taught we need to do things a certain way, and I'm going to live up to those expectations. And so he's just really hard on his students. He doesn't leave school ever. He doesn't have any family, so he would have these 2 weeks off. And there's actually like 5 boys who
Hmm.
all have to stay behind, but four of them, one of them's like super rich and is able to get daddy's able to fly a helicopter in and pick him up, and then takes the other four because they could get in contact with all their parents
Hmm.
but not his.
Yeah.
So it does end up being the three of them, and like, oh, we don't like each other because we don't see eye to eye, but spending time with each other, we really got to learn.
We're not so different, wonky eye.
And so I called him the old hovers because he's with them all the time. They can't stay in their dorms. They have to stay in like sleep in the same room, and they still have to do PE. They still have to do classes even though they're on vacation. And so he's
Okay.
hovering over them, and he's an old man. So I think that's pretty clever. But yeah, I don't like this movie. I don't think it's very good. I think Paul Giamatti is a character that you want to like, yeah, there's that asshole teacher who's really sticking it to those fucking kids. No, he's a prick. He's not a nice dude, and I see where he's coming from, but I don't think he's justified in how he treats these people. The kid isn't the best either, but he's not nearly as awful.
Mm.
And the cafeteria lady, she's going through her own stuff too. But this isn't.
This is a David O. Russell movie, right?
No, this is a Alexander Payne.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And I think it's people want it to be like a Dead Poet Society or something, but it's not. I don't really enjoy any of the characters in this. I think Paul Giamatti's good. He's always good. He's a great actor, and I don't know how they did the lazy eye. I don't know if that's something he can do or if it's a CG thing.
It's a Pennywise Bill
Yeah,
Skarsgård.
it's like Bill Skarsgård is able to do that. Paul Giamatti's never said he can do that, so it has to be a special effect.
Paul Giamatti as Pennywise, though, I think he could pull that off.
Oh yeah,
That'd
yeah.
be a good casting.
Uh-huh.
I'd check that out.
But I don't care for this movie at all. I don't see
It
why.
didn't seem like your kind of movie.
No, but I heard such good things.
Yeah.
I like this. It tugs on your heartstrings, and I heard like the final scenes of the movie will blow you away. I really don't know what they're talking about. This is such a by the numbers story.
Just good marketing, maybe.
I guess, but not for me. And I mean, you may like it, but there's nothing so good about this that you have to see it. You've seen a movie like this before. Pass.
Well, if it was Dead Poet Society, like you could say, "Oh, crapped in my Crapton."
Oh yes, yes.
If we're sticking with the piss and shit theme over here, because the old hovers. What'd you say?
Yeah, the old hovers.
Okay.
It's called the Holdovers. You move just the H,
Yeah.
and then it's the old hovers, and it works.
Had I seen it
perfectly.
and knew the context of what you were speaking.
Yeah, I know. Maybe
guess-
I should have worked the joke up a bit more.
Hey man, we can't bat it. We all can't bat it
They
down.
can't all be the pee drinker, you know. And then my last movie,
Okay.
May December, more like hey decent member. This is
I feel like the audience would appreciate it more could they see your face, like
in my delivery.
genuinely. Yeah.
And I wrote that
Like-
one while you were checking on the noise that happened.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, I have one for the Holdovers, but I don't have one for May December, and it just came to me. So
Hey there, December. What's it like in your whatever? Anyway,
I thought you were going to go somewhere, and I was going to jump in, but no, it would have been gross. Okay, so do you know what May December's about?
yeah, it's Natalie Portman is an actress who booked a movie role where she's playing a real life person, and it's her meeting that real life person to do like research for the film, and I think she like falls in love with her son or something like that. Or...
No, I mean yes and no. She is visiting Julianne Moore because Julianne Moore was involved with a young man. It's based on a real true story.
Right.
She was like
True story in
36.
this world or true
True
story in
story in
our.
our world,
Oh,
and
okay.
then they just adapted it, changed things up. They
Mm,
didn't get the permission from the people,
got it.
but they used enough of it, and especially like the boy isn't like some white kid. He is a person of color, and in the real story, so is he. And I think like a movie would like kind of whitewash those things,
Mm,
so it's very apparent that who they're parodying. So, anywho, Julianne Moore was like 36. He was like 12 or 13. They
Jesus.
were working at a pet store. They got caught fucking in the stockroom, made national news. She went to jail and was pregnant with his kid when she went to jail. She got out. They got married. They had that kid, or like she had it in prison. They had two more kids. And now it's like 18 years later. So, those two kids, they were twins. They're graduating high school. The other one's in college, so she's wanting to meet this couple, and they seem to have a very normal life. They're still in love. The community loves them. The kids seem well adjusted. Everything seems like, okay, it was really gross, but it worked out.
Hmm.
Maybe he's just wise for his age, all those groomer sort of tactics. Oh, I never felt like this with, anyone before. And so it must be special regardless of your age and yada, yada,
You ever
yada.
see That's My Boy with Adam Sandler?
I've seen bits of it, mainly because of what's her face's daughter is in it.
Ava
Susan
Monarch. Yeah.
Sarandon's daughter, who is absolutely stunning. And I mean, I do like Andy Samberg, but it's just more Adam Sandler doing his dumb guy voice and being a huge piece of shit.
Yeah,
So
there's parts that are funny, but it's a bad movie.
yeah,
But anyway,
uh,
similar themes.
yes. Um, so I love this movie. I give this an A+.
A
It would have been
plus.
on my top 10 if I would have seen it last year, for sure. I really dug it. Mainly because Natalie Portman is the type of actress who really gets into the roles. So she's visiting Julianne Moore's ex-husband because she had a husband and kids when she met this guy. Her kid is the same age as the boy that she slept with, and they were friends. Like they went to school together, and she left that whole family to be with this kid, and went to the pet shop to see the stockroom where they got caught. But she's the type of actress who would, you know, imagine a sexual scenario while she's there to kind of like get in the mood of how they were feeling at the time. Like she really kind of gets into the role, and she does a great job. I'm sad that she's not getting nominated because she really has these moments where she's looking straight into the camera and she's like practicing lines and she's playing Julianne Moore, and Julianne Moore has like this little lisp that she does, so
Mhm.
she's affecting that. And you can see like after she's done with the scene and she has to break character and how proud she is of how good she was, and she's crying, and like she's really good at playing these multiple layers
Mhm.
of this actress. It's a shame. And then the dude whose name I can't think of, he was on Poker Face. I don't know, you didn't watch that, but uh, when you first see him, it's like he seems like a normal dude. He's all right, but there's these like little hints of maybe he wasn't, maybe he still hasn't matured enough
Mhm.
to know what he's doing, even though he is, 36 years old now. He's, I guess he'd be closer to 40 or something, but
Whatever.
whatever. Uh,
There might be some lingering sort of like trauma or
oh
something
yeah,
that.
absolutely. It's like, now was she grooming him and made him believe that he instigated this? He was in control of the situation.
Mhm.
Or was it she was always in control and has let him believe these things through the many, many years, and he was just too naive to understand? And like there's a scene where he's with his son sitting on the roof and the son brings out a joint. He's like, "Do you care if I do this?" And dad's like, "Oh, I never got to do that because his whole childhood was taken away." And then
Mhm.
it's him smoking pot with his son, and it's his first time getting high. He's like, "I don't know if this is like a good bonding moment or if this is really fucking you up," because he's realizing there were so many things that he just never got to experience. It's an excellent movie. My roommate didn't like it as much as me. She thought like, "Oh, is that it?" But I don't know. I thought it was fantastic.
So my son being 9 months old, I shouldn't smoke pot with him.
No, that's a little too young. At least wait till he's 12.
12 months.
12 months. Yes,
Okay, got
12
it. Okay.
months.
Just wanted to clarify.
But it's on Netflix.
Happy birthday, son. Here's a joint. Smoke it up.
First words, 420 blaze it. So it's on Netflix if you want to see it. I think you and your wife should watch it. It's a good
I think it's the
watch.
kind of thing she would be into.
I think so. What a pervert. Your wife, that's the type of thing she'd be into. That's why she married you, right?
Yeah,
Since you're the younger man.
And we were giving our son pot, so.
You guys are good parents. Oh, whew. Well, that's all I got.
That's 2 weeks. That's what it's been 2 weeks since we last saw or 3.
Well, 3 weeks ago we did a This Meets That.
Right.
So technically it's been 3 weeks.
3 weeks of building stuff.
Yeah. So
honestly, I thought you'd have more.
There's a few other things I do have on my list,
Okay.
but they're not worth talking about.
Fair enough.
I'm not going to put you through a bunch of stuff that even I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, we don't need to learn about pie versus cake horror movie or whatever.
Pie versus cake.
Well, it's always like shark versus anaconda. It's like, what if there's a horror movie where it's cake versus pie, pie-nado, And everyone...
pie wins. I say, unless
pie 100% wins.
If you add ice cream and cake, I think is better than pie. Because I like to mix it around.
So not ice cream cake.
Not
Two
ice cream
separate
cake.
entities put together.
Ice cream and cake in a bowl, mix it all up. I will take that over pie.
Yeah, but you'll never get unless it's cheesecake maybe. You're not going to get cake a la mode. Like you can go to...
Sure you will.
At a restaurant you can get...
Yeah, like the hot fudge lava cakes and stuff always comes with ice cream. There's plenty of cakes with ice cream.
I'm always a pie guy, so
yeah, and I
just feel
love
like
pie
pies lend themselves. It's like here's this fruity element, and now we're going to add a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top.
Not every pie goes with ice cream, like your lemon meringues or your French silks. Those you don't do ice cream with a cream pie, but a fruit pie that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas I think most cakes would lend to ice cream. Regardless of the cake. You may not eat ice cream with carrot cake, but I think it would still work.
All right, folks. I know you come here for the movies and stuff, but let us know your thoughts on cake versus pie.
Yeah.
Are you team pie or team cake?
Yeah.
Is that the name of this episode? We'll find out later.
All right. I'm going to say cake with ice cream is greater than pie with ice cream, but pie with ice cream is better than pie. Pie is better than cake. That's how I would probably do it.
I don't necessarily agree with it, but I concede.
But we both say pie is good.
Yeah.
Best pie? Number one pie? Because when it comes to pastries and stuff, I default to a lot of apple stuff. Apple pastries are so good.
The first one that popped into my mind is apple because it's kind of hard to fuck that up.
Yeah.
But
I'd rather have the pastry than an actual slice of apple pie. I do like berry. I like a triple berry pie if I'm talking about fruit.
So I get a lot of my pies from Walmart, and there's a mixed berry pie.
Yeah.
It's
mixed
fucking
berry is
delicious.
Great. But I'm a French silk guy. That's my of my non-fruit pies. I'd say French silk or even like a peanut butter cup. I like coconut cream, lemon meringue, things like that. I know
peanut butter cup, but I feel like I can only do one slice of peanut butter cup.
It's a lot.
It's so heavy. Yeah. I could eat an entire apple pie, no problem.
Yeah, but it's fruit. It's healthy. This is good for me.
An entire fruit pie, easy money.
Yeah, a cream pie,
a slice of peanut butter pie. I can do like one slice a day.
Yeah, it is very rich. Yeah. Okay, well, we don't.
Good way to end. How do you top that with ice cream?
Oh, very nice, Steve.
Thank you.
Did you want to talk about the Oscars at all?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Let's talk about the Oscars.
Yeah, so I guess this is our main topic. We're going to just go through the Oscars, make our picks, who we think will win, who we want to win. Steve's going to keep track of it.
Yes, I will.
I mean, I can keep track of it.
We won't go through every category.
No,
but
we're going to go through the main.
We'll have our list and we'll talk about it on the pod after the Oscars and see what we got right, what we got wrong.
Yeah. So you'll have to take our word that we filled these out in advance because what we say here in a week when we fill that out, it may change. So you're just gonna have to trust us. Well, we'll do the main ones. We'll do animation, adapted screenplay, original screenplay.
We'll do animated, the screenplays.
Actor, actress, supporting.
Yep, and then
director movie.
Yep.
Okay. That's
All right.
9 categories, and we're gonna try to get it done in less than 10 minutes.
All right, let's just start off with animated because it's the easiest one.
Okay. You want me to take it? You want me to take notes? You read and I'll take notes.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Best animated feature. We have The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. All right. What do you think should win? Now, I have seen 2
Yeah.
of the 5 nominees.
There's unfortunately a lot looking at,
This is
at
my
the
weakest
Oscars.
year, I think, in terms of like watching stuff.
Yeah.
I had a baby, folks. Get off me.
I'm sorry. Give me those nominees one more time.
All right. The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
I think I want to win Spider-Man. What will win? I'll say Spider-Man.
I'm going to say want to win Spider-Man, will win Boy and the Heron.
Okay. Do you think has Miyazaki won? Oh, he won for Princess Mononoke, but nothing since, right?
No, I don't think Princess Mononoke won. Spirited Away won.
Oh, Spirited Away, yeah. But none since that
He's
time,
had
right?
plenty of nominations. Like The Wind Rises was nominated one.
But yeah.
But I think Spirited Away is his only win for Best Feature.
Yeah, I think these are really the only 2 that matter. Because, like, the robot one, I don't know what the fuck that is. Nimona.
Yeah. No one's seen Robot Dreams. I think
So Nimona is on there.
Nimona is on there, yeah. That's what I said.
Yeah, but I swore it was...
I think people were surprised Ninja Turtles was
Oh,
on there.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles instead of...
Robot Dreams?
Yeah.
Yeah, because no one's seen Robot Dreams. I don't think Elemental and Nimona have enough.
Yeah, Elemental should not be on there.
To get behind.
Yeah.
So it's really between.
If
these
Elemental wins...
the only reason I think Spider-Man isn't gonna get it is because the first one got it.
Yeah.
Not that it necessarily should disqualify it, but
hey, maybe this could be a historical thing of, like, a trilogy, each one, Best Picture, Animated Picture. That'd be kind of cool.
that would be kind of cool. But I think The Boy and the Heron is like the Oscar of these 5. It's like the Oscar movie.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, next category.
Best Adapted Screenplay:
Ooh.
American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest.
Zone of Interest is getting a lot of buzz lately. I'm seeing lots of ads for it.
Yeah, I think the true race is between Oppenheimer and Zone of Interest
Mm-hmm.
in terms of Best Picture, but we'll get to that later. And when it comes to adapted screenplay, I think this is one category where Nolan is going to falter. Like they're going to spread out some of the wealth, and I don't think it's going to go to Oppenheimer.
Okay. But it was a big ass book.
Yeah.
See, I think Oppenheimer will win because everyone is riding that Oppie dick so hard. I think it's going to.
I'll say should win just based off of the trailer. I'm going to say American Fiction should win.
Okay.
But will win? I'm going to say Zone of Interest.
Oh. I'm saying Oppenheimer will win and Barbie should win because you're adapting a toy. You know, how we've seen it with Battleship and stuff like that. Sometimes adapting a toy is hard to do. They took a doll that, although has had narratives before,
There's more to it.
Plenty of stories of fairy princess Barbies and all that sort of stuff, but not a story about Barbie in general. And I think...
Well, some people, I think you can make the argument, well, there isn't really a story there, so you got to make up your own thing.
Yeah, so it's not
even
really adapted,
Yeah.
you know.
So you had infinite room to work with.
That's true.
Or almost infinite, because you still had to work within the confines, but there was next to none.
Sure, yeah.
But anyway, Best Original Screenplay: Anatomy of the Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives.
Just because I liked it so much, I want May December to win.
Mm-hmm.
But I think... Read them one more time.
Anatomy of the Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives.
I'm going to say Anatomy of a Fall. I've been hearing a lot, and ever since I saw the trailer the one time in theaters, I was like, I want to fucking see that. And I've heard it's amazing.
That's your will win.
That will win.
And what was your should?
Um,
Maestro?
no, MD. What's MD?
May
Oh, May
December.
December. Yeah. Doi.
Okay, sorry. I think Past Lives has got a lot of traction this year. It's on a lot of
Mhm.
people's top tens list. I haven't seen it yet. I want
I
to.
hear it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I think this is the one category where if it's gonna win anything, it's gonna win this one, because
Okay.
I can't see it winning anything else.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say Past Lives should win, but I think will win is Anatomy of the Fall. I agree with that. All right, Best Supporting Actress: Emily Blunt, Danielle Brooks, America Ferrera, Jodie Foster, and Davine Joy Randolph.
For
Uh,
what? The last person you said, what movie is that from?
the Holdovers.
Oh, yeah.
So this
Oh,
one, definitely not going Emily Brooks. Definitely not going to Emily Brooks. Definitely not going Emily Blunt. Definitely not going
yeah.
to Danielle Brooks. Definitely not going to America Ferrera.
No.
So this is between Jodie Foster in a movie I haven't seen and Divine Joy Randolph in a movie I haven't seen.
Yeah.
I think this might be.
I'm gonna.
I'm gonna say should win, should win, and will win. Divine Joy Randolph, the holdovers,
I'm putting the same thing, just because that seems like a real weak
because
listing of people.
Jodie Foster in a movie called Niad, I've never even
Yeah.
fucking heard of. There's no way that
Yeah.
she wins.
Sometimes those get snuck through, and everyone goes, "Huh? What?"
Uh, no way America Ferrera gets it.
No.
No one saw The Color Purple. And Emily Blunt has like 5 lines in
Yeah.
Oppenheimer. I think she is the dark horse to win,
Yeah.
but there's so many better Emily Blunt movies,
Yeah.
um, performance wise, anyway. All right. Best Supporting Actor: Sterling K. Brown, Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, and Mark Ruffalo. This one is a pretty tough category. There's some heavy hitters in here.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see, as much as I love Ryan Gosling and Barbie. I'm gonna say he should win,
Yeah.
because what a role. That
Mm-hmm.
being said, I don't think he stands a chance.
No.
So I'm gonna say this is Robert Downey Jr.'s year.
I agree. I think this is the only time he's ever going to get a chance to win an award. Not because he's too old and his career's done. I just can't see him doing.
I'm pretty sure. Did he?
Yeah, he was
He,
nominated for a Chaplin.
yeah. I just cut.
Oh, and
Did he win? Or he
no,
was just nominated?
no,
Okay.
he was nominated. And what's it? Wasn't Tropic Thunder? Wasn't
And
he?
for supporting, yeah.
Yeah. So there are those sort of comedic roles that maybe he'll get in the future, but for a dramatic acting, I can't see
Yeah.
him taking on these sorts of roles. So I'm going to agree with both of those.
All right. Best Actress: Annette Bening, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller, Carey Mulligan, and Emma Stone. So I think this category is the Emma Stone versus Lily Gladstone.
Exactly.
Uh, and I haven't seen Poor Things yet, but I
No.
hear she's just.
Yep. She's my should win just because I love Emma Stone.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say should win Emma Stone and will win. That's tough.
I'm putting Lily Gladstone just because it's one of those roles of people. Oh, she came out of nowhere, and what a performance! I don't think she's bad in that movie, but I wasn't really blown away
Yeah,
either. But I got to stand with my diabetic.
I think if Emma Stone hadn't already won an Oscar, I'd
This would be
say
it.
this would be it. But I'm gonna agree with you. I think it's gonna be Lily.
Yeah.
Although my having not seen Poor Things yet, I think I'm gonna watch Poor Things and go, that movie's weird as shit, but goddamn, Emma Stone's good.
Yeah.
Because she's great in everything.
Isn't it a shame that Margot Robbie didn't get nominated? Like,
I mean, when I saw Barbie, I was like, she's going to get nominated for the Barbie movie. That's fucking crazy because she's very good. I think would I have picked her over 4 other actresses? Or I'm sorry, 3 other actresses in this category? 100%.
yeah.
But had I picked her, like, would she have won anyway? No. So her being nominated is nice for her, but she was never going to win.
But I don't think it doesn't matter about the winners usually. You really need to be recognized, and I think it's kind of shitty, and it's been said a million times, like the Academy is doing exactly the point of the Barbie movie. It's like, you have Greta Gerwig directing this monumental movie. You have Barbie taking on the lead role of a very difficult character. Neither one of them are being recognized, and that's so typical of industries put in place
Well, they
to
are being
look over
recognized,
them.
just not in the category you would think they are. Because she's
Yeah,
nominated for screenplay, and Margot Robbie's nominated for picture because she's a producer on Barbie. They're
sure.
also in the biggest movie of the year.
But
Like
how can you
every
say
metric of this movie is a massive success with the and where everyone who you wanted to get nominated still got nominated, just not necessarily where you wanted them to. And I think
it's not the same as like, oh, I won for Barbie in a producing role. That anybody could throw money at a production. It's putting their soul into the character and bringing it to life. And
which
then
they did for an audience, which the audience, critics, and the money all responded to. I'm with you, Ben. I would put them in there. That being said, if they were in there, I don't believe for 1 second they would have won.
and I don't think that's really the point.
Okay. I'm just choosing not to get upset about it. That's all.
Get mad, Steve.
All right. So, anyway, best actor: Bradley Cooper, Coleman Domingo, Paul Giamatti, Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy? I'm going to say Cillian.
Killian.
And Jeffrey Wright. Uh, should win.
Killian Murphy. Oh, should win? Oh.
Once again, I haven't seen it, but I fucking love Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah.
And just from the
so
trailers, I
good.
can tell like he's good in this
Yeah.
movie.
So you're saying Jeffrey Wright for
I'm
sure.
gonna say should win Jeffrey Wright, but will win. It's gonna be Cillian.
It's gonna be Killian. I think should win. Could you read those one more time?
Bradley Cooper.
No.
Coleman Domingo.
I like him, but no.
I like him yet, but I didn't see Rusted.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Giamatti, Cillian Murphy, and Jeffrey Wright.
Ooh, I'm just gonna say should and will is Killian Murphy, even though thinking back on that performance, besides wide-eyed hauntedness, I can't think of like a moment where it's like, damn, he fucking killed it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got like a great scene.
Yeah, he really doesn't.
There's not like that big. Well, this is how I come up with the bomb, or
Yeah.
like, there's not that big monologue.
The big monologue, yeah.
But
So
I think
don't know why I'm picking this
he's
because
great in that movie.
But it's like,
But it is like one of those performances.
look
It's a
past the
subtle
camera. We're gonna blow wind in your face, tear up a little, and look haunted, and that's all you got to do. I don't know why I'm picking that because whatever, it's down.
All right, best director: Justine Triet. I'm just gonna say the name of the movies because in case you don't know. For Anatomy of the Fall, Martin Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon, Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos, Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer, The Zone of Interest. Should win. I'm gonna say. I mean, I've only seen 2 of these movies, so it's hard for me to really give an honest opinion. But I'm gonna say should win Martin Scorsese, just because I remember talking about the movie with you, and even though it's not my favorite movie of the year by far, there's some like really excellent like camera choices in that movie and interesting things he did, where there was nothing necessarily that like blew me away about the direction of Oppenheimer, but Nolan's going to win his Oscar this year.
Okay, so Christopher Nolan as well. I'm gonna say who should win was it Yorgos Lanthimos? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
For Poor Things.
You know what? I'm taking my answer back. I'm also should win Yorgos because just from those trailers, I don't know if it's necessarily excellent direction, but at least it's different.
Yeah, agreed. And will win.
Remember, you get points for the will wins,
and you don't get points for the should wins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep that in mind.
You're gonna have to read it one more time. I'm sorry, Steve.
I'm just gonna say the movies: Anatomy of the Fall, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Zone of Interest.
I'm gonna say Zone of Interest.
Okay. I think that's the second choice. If it's not Nolan, it's going to be Jonathan Glazer.
Okay.
I agree.
And then last movie?
All right. Your Best Picture nominees: American Fiction, Anatomy of the Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest.
This is a shit year.
Yeah.
Mainly, I haven't seen a lot of them, but some of the ones I have seen, I didn't care that much. Like Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, they're not my movies. This is... I'm gonna say will win is Oppenheimer because such a popular pick. Should win.
American Fiction doesn't have the marketing for
No.
it. Anatomy of a Fall, like I
I'm gonna say Anatomy of a Fall.
uh I don't think that has the backing either. It's
And it's
too
a foreign film, you know.
it's a foreign film. It's too indie. Not that foreign films can't win.
No,
Parasite won
I
just a few
know.
years ago,
I know.
but Parasite was like a monster
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Where this
This
isn't that.
barely got a release.
Barbie, it's this year. I don't like making this comparison, but it's
Yeah.
this year's Black Panther.
Yeah.
By all metrics.
I
The
got to fucking
Holdovers.
pee. So you got to wrap this up, or
Yeah.
you got to let me just take a break.
The
real quick.
Holdovers, no one cares. Kills the Fire Moon is Scorsese, but he's already got his Oscar. Maestro lost a lot of it. Past Lives, no one cares. So Zone of Interest is should win. Oppenheimer will win.
All right, will win is Oppenheimer, and should win is Zone of Interest. Okay, yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it next. No, not next week. Next week is. Yeah, when are the Oscars?
March 10th.
Oh my god. So we got some time
Yep.
to dwell on these things, see some movies. Wow, that's so late. Normally it's into February because
we have a whole like month and a half of marketing to try and like sway voters to a certain idea.
Crazy.
But this week, coming up, the movie that Ben and I will try and watch, if not Poor Things, so we can finally talk about that, is going to be...
yeah, one you're not looking forward to.
February 2nd is going to be Argyle.
Argyle, yeah. And Scrambled.
What's Scrambled?
Scrambled's about a woman who, like, freezes her eggs.
Oh. You know what's also out that I would be like, oh, you know what, that'd be a fun... The Book of Clarence.
Oh, yeah. Is that still available?
It was as of the other day. Oh, American Fiction's out where we're at now, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should do some Oscar catch-ups.
Oppenheimer? Oh, they brought back, like,
They
Oscars.
brought back a bunch of stuff.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah. I think the Book of Clarence is come and gone.
Oh, it might be. But I want to see American Fiction and Poor Things.
Yeah, I do, too. So, TBD. We'll figure something out.
Maybe we'll just do like 4 This Meets That's back to back, and that just carries us through.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPL podcast at gmail.com. We're on Threads, Instagram, and TikTok. Hit us up. What are your Oscar predictions? You got plenty of time to lock those votes in.
Stay tuned for our full list.
And by list, I mean pissed.
Nailed it.